For 1,000 years, the name Rome was synonymous with power, with eternity. Its legions commanded an empire that spanned 3 continents, an impossible feat of engineering, law, and conquest. Rome was the axis of the known world, a city built to last forever. But even the mightiest structures harbor unseen flaws, and within the gilded halls of its power, a deadly secret was brewing. A secret that would not be revealed in a single catastrophic battle, but would instead work like a slow, irreversible poison, shattering the empire from the inside. This is the story of how a single foundational flaw, a hidden epidemic of lead poisoning, helped bring the undisputed master of the ancient world to its knees. It all came down to water. Water was Rome's miracle. Giant aqueducts, monuments to human genius, delivered vast quantities of clean, fresh mountain spring water right into the heart of the city. But the final mile of this engineering marvel was a disaster waiting to happen. To distribute this vital resource throughout their sprawling cities, the Romans relied heavily on a metal that was cheap, malleable, and easy to work: lead. They called it plumbum, the source of our modern word, plumbing. This was not a hidden crime committed in the shadows. It was an open, accepted practice. Lead pipes carried water to the public fountains, the grand imperial baths, and the private homes of the wealthy elite. The sheer scale of it is staggering. Miles upon miles of lead piping, constantly leaching a tasteless, odorless toxin into the very lifeblood of the empire. And it didn't stop there. The wealthy Romans, the very senators, emperors, and generals who guided the empire's destiny, used lead for practically everything. They lined their bronze cooking vessels with it to sweeten and preserve wine. They used lead acetate, known as sapa, as a powerful sweetener, virtually guaranteeing that the ruling class was constantly ingesting the poison. Consider the contradiction. A civilization that gave us sophisticated law and incredible infrastructure was simultaneously poisoning its own leaders. But who noticed? Who could possibly connect the dots between the heavy, dark metal and the slow, agonizing decline of the mind? The great physician Galen, writing in the 2nd century AD, documented the symptoms: the agonizing stomach pains, the paralysis, the erratic behavior, what we now recognize as the classic signs of lead poisoning. Yet, the source was never definitively traced back to the plumbing. The symptoms were often dismissed as divine punishment, ill humors, or simply the ravages of old age and excess. Now, imagine an emperor, a man like Caligula or Nero, men whose reigns were marked by profound instability, irrational cruelty, and madness. Modern historians have long debated the causes of their volatile behavior, often citing genetic predisposition or the corrupting influence of absolute power. But what if a significant factor, a silent accomplice to their madness, was the constant low-level poisoning of their brains? The effects of chronic lead exposure are chillingly relevant to the decline of the empire's ruling class. Cognitive impairment, impulsive behavior, poor judgment, irritability, and reproductive failure. As the centuries wore on, the powerful, highly educated Roman families began to dwindle. Birth rates among the elite dropped significantly, forcing the imperial system to rely on often less experienced non-Italian outsiders to fill the leadership vacuum. Was this simply a societal trend, or were they being systematically poisoned out of existence? This deadly secret didn't just affect the city of Rome. The legions, the very hammer of the empire, were also exposed. Wherever a Roman fort was established, a network of lead pipes soon followed. Soldiers, often the backbone of Roman society, drank this water, and in campaigns, they were often supplied with wine preserved with lead. A poisoned army is not an effective army. Sluggish minds, weakened bodies, and low morale, these symptoms, unseen and unrecognized, worked to neutralize the legendary Roman military machine long before any barbarian horde ever crossed the Rhine. The invaders from the north, the Goths, the Vandals, the Huns, were merely the undertakers. The true killer had already been at work for centuries, circulating silently through the veins of the city. The empire didn't fall to a sudden, clean strike. It stumbled and withered as its leaders grew more erratic. Its elite families became infertile, and its legions lost their legendary discipline and focus. The strength of Rome was not shattered by a superior weapon or a brighter strategy. It was eroded by the very thing they embraced for convenience: the cheap, abundant, and utterly toxic metal that was plumbum. If you want to decode more of history's deepest secrets, the wars, the genius designs, and the hidden truths that helped shape our world, then subscribe to Mystery Reservoir. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the shadows of history. What other deadly secrets are still hidden beneath the ruins? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and what topic you'd like for us to cover next.